Let's talk about the games happened on Thursday. The first game is the Celtics lost to the Knicks to a Barrett buzzer beater out of everybody. It's RJ Barrett who hit the game winner. It's got to be his first. And they really blew this one, the Celtics. They were up, 16, 17 points. And then third and fourth quarter, the Knicks came back. Losing games like this really hurt a team's morale. Right? They were up big. The other team came back. They hit a game winner on you. And the Celtics had their full squad this game. Horford, 30 minutes, a steal. And he started at the small forward. Not the best game for Al Horford, but still a very strong code. Jason Tatum played 40 minutes. Shot the ball okay, 36 points, 9 assists. This is the first round value that we've been looking for all year. And after the game, Tatum said, the first couple years in the league, he got into the Eastern Conference Finals. At the time, he thought it was easy. He could do it every year. Now he realized how hard it is. Right? He's in year 4? Entering his prime, but his team is they've just been bad this year. 11th seed. Like I said earlier, losses like this really hurt a team's morale. But they could still be in the play-in, but they're not gonna make any big noises in the playoffs. This team currently constructed, led by Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They're not. I don't know. It just feel like they're missing something. They got some nice players. Maybe it's the coach. I'm not sure exactly the issue is, and it's not their. They also struggled last year as well. Robert Williams won the game, 2 steals, 7 blocks, 9 rebounds, 6 points. After some early season struggles, he started popping off. In the last 2 weeks, he's the 13th ranked player, playing 32 minutes, averaging 3.7 blocks. That's obviously high. I would still take a guy like Miles Turner over Robert Williams. Robert Williams is just super inconsistent. The playing time, he also gets hurt a decent amount of time as well. 41st ranked player after, last game. He could be in the top 40, top 50 range with his rankings. Averaging 2.1 blocks on the season, I could see him do that. So just the 2.1 blocks alone makes him like a top 30, top 40 type of player. And when he bring in the other stats, 2 steals, the other night he had 10 assists. He's gonna have he's gonna be a monster the rest of the way. Maybe he have a second half resurgence. I would still try to sell high him. If you can do a 2-for-1 to get like a top 50, top 20 player, that is something I'll be looking to do. If you don't want the blocks, because at the end of the day, the blocks is still very, very high variance. He could have 7 blocks one game and then 1 block per game for the rest of the week. Jaylen Brown, 16 points, not the best game from Jaylen. And Marcus Smart, no defensive stats, 14 points. And Dennis Schroeder came off the bench, played 27 minutes. So Smart minutes has been trending down a bit. And it's just one game, so we'll see. Because Smart played a lot of the minutes without Jaylen Brown, without Jason Tatum, Dennis Schroeder. Guys, all those guards were coming in and out of the lineup. So if Smart only gets 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes a game, that's going to hurt his value a little bit. He's like a top 70, 80 type of player. And his best category is the steals. Majority of his value coming from the steals as well. Dennis Schroeder, every time you want to drop him, he put up a game like this. 20 points with good efficiency and nothing else. He can do this type of things every once in a while. And, if Jaylen Brown is out, he could start playing 35 minutes and start going off. So still a hold because, at the end of the day, points and assists are pretty hard to find on the waiver wire. So if you drop him, you're not going to get them back. You're not going to get them back on the waiver wire. Somebody else might scoop him up and, For the New York Knicks, RJ hit the game winner. Other than that, didn't really do much. He's really... You don't really if you want to stream him, you gotta have a couple of conditions. A couple of conditions need to be met, right? You don't care about the free throw. You don't care about the field goal this week. You only care about, points and rebounds. He had 6 assists here, but he doesn't do that often. Julius Randle, another okay game. 22 points, 2 steals, 8 rebounds. He's been underwhelming. Continues to be a buy low in my opinion. The top 50 player. Ranking wise, he's gonna be in that 50 range, but realistically, because the category he offers, I look him, But again, he's not for everybody. Like if you don't want the points, if you don't want the rebounds or the assists, then he's obviously not as good. But those categories are pretty hard to find on the waiver wire. Mitchell Robinson had 2 steals. Nerlens Noel is still out. He was questionable coming in. Both guys could be rostered, depending on their team. If you're pounding points and threes, both guys can be great pieces on your team, right? Offer decent steals and blocks. And Mitchell Robinson, I don't know what's up with this. Him and Robert Williams should be on the same level. These 2 guys should be on the same level in terms of production. But he has not been blocking shots, and I think ever since his rookie year, he just stopped going for the. Because I guess he commit too many fouls, bite on every pump fake. He's got to be smarter than that. Alec Burks played 37 minutes, although a really bad game, still a hold. The fact that he played 37, and we don't know when Kemba comes back, what's going to happen. We don't know. But, consider he started, he played 37 minutes, he's a hold. And Evan Fournier, for all the guys who held him through it all, finally the patience pays off, 41 points. But he's not going to do this again. If you can't get him for any value, sure. And I would just hold. Don't drop him after this good game, right? He could get some confidence, man. Maybe have a good stretch. I would monitor his minutes as well. Emmanuel quickly also came in, had 16 points and 3 threes. He's not really just a streamer. If the Knicks got a good schedule. All right, let's talk about the next game. Only have 4 games. Detroit Pistons losing to the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies got 5 games this week, so after today, they still have a back-to-back on the weekend. And the old Sadiq Bey is back. 3 points, 2 steals, 1 for 9. We all knew, this sort of thing was going to happen. When all the guys come back, he's not going to score 30 points. He's still a hold. He did play 32 minutes still. But the usage is gone. Like, Kate Cunningham took 19 shots this game. And collectively, nobody played well on this team. Diallo, same thing, played 25 minutes, even though it was a blowout. I would I would move on from Diallo, to be honest. You could still hold, depending on what their schedule looks like, you could still hold. He could still, if it wasn't full of blowout, he could have played probably 30 minutes. But the production he was putting up, same thing with Sadiq Bey. If you haven't sold high on them, the window is closed. Isaiah Stewart first came back. If he got dropped, you could for sure pick him up. He had 8 rebounds and 2 blocks. At least the rebound department, he's going to be pretty solid. And he's going to have, over a block a game. But everything else is negative, right? Pretty much negative. Kate Cunningham, 31 minutes. Bad efficiency. He'll be better than this. With him, you really need to think about your field goal. Do you want to... And turnovers. He's going to turn over a bunch as well. So if that's what it's not what you're looking for, try to find a team that's pounding field goal and trade him for like a top 50, 40 value. Because if you ignore the field goals and turnovers, he's a top 40 player. But if you look at the whole night category, his ranking is going to fall off. 70, 80 maybe. Killian Hayes played 30 minutes. He could be also another streamer for some assistant steals. Also played pretty bad. And Trey Lyles with Isaiah Stewart back, he still got 25 minutes. But that's not worried about him. Fantasy-wise, not a great fantasy player. Grab some rebounds. I remember a couple years ago when he was on the Denver. He would one starter got injured, he'll come in and grab 8-9 rebounds a game. But those days were long gone. Josh Jackson, 50 minutes. Gaza, 18. Saban Lee, 15. Saban Lee is a good player, actually. Per minute wise, he put up pretty big numbers. but he put up 14 points in 15 minutes, but just don't have the opportunity. If he does, we should look to pick him up. For the Grizzlies, another easy win. Grizzlies, they're just rolling. They are the 4th seed in the West. Well, the first three teams, they are pretty good. You know, the Jazz, the Warriors, the Phoenix Suns. 4th seed, consider it's not easy to do, and they're 26 and 14, and they down this, and they won 7 straight very quietly. They won another 7 straight games. They won a bunch without Ja Morant, and now that Ja is back, they've been balling. Zara Williams came in, played 25 minutes because they still have some guys out. I think this game, Desmond Bain missed. And they got a couple guys back, like DeAnthony Melton. They got DeAnthony Melton back. Who else did they get back? I think that's it. DeAnthony Melton is not a must roster, but if you just read the stats, in 21 minutes, he had 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and still 2 blocks. This game was against a bad Detroit team, but man, this guy is. If you give him 30 minutes, he's could be a top 40 player, seriously. But with all the, Dylan Brooks also came back. But with all the guys back, he's not gonna have that opportunity. Gerald Jackson Jr. had 1 steal and 2 blocks. His efficiency, I don't know what's happened with him over the last couple weeks. He's been shooting but the ball so poor. So a good buy low opportunity. Even though the defensive stats is 161st ranked player, averaging 14 points on 32% from the field and 75% from the free throw line. So both could be an 80% free throw shooter, and he should be at least a 45% field goal guy, at least 45%. A good buy low, but the defensive side pretty solid, averaging 1.3 steals and 1.9 blocks. To me, he's a top 50 player, and he's so unique. The combination of threes and blocks he provide, really, really solid. And if you have a guard team, and you don't have to pump blocks with him, Gerald Jackson Jr. By himself, you usually have a chance versus like mediocre block teams. If you just have Gerald Jackson Jr., one of the block leaders, the blocks obviously is very, very high variance. Only a couple guys in the league, they get blocked consistently, maybe 5, 6, 7 guys, and all the other guys, it's they could average 1 block, but they could go on a week without getting a single block, and then one can get 3. I mean, it depends on the blocks, depend on the matchup, like depend on which team you play. Just like steals. I mean, steals is even more high variance. So if you got a guard team, having guys like Gerald Jackson Jr. on your team really helps you to be somewhat competitive versus, the bottom 50-60% of the league, like the block teams. Anyways, Steven Adams, good stream for rebounds. He did exactly that again. Dylan Brooks came back. What a game. 3 steals and 2 blocks. Although it was against Detroit, so I don't know how much it means, 18 points. So with him back, we'll see. Desmond Bain was out this game. We'll see what happens. Desmond Bain has been really good. I personally think the usage is gonna fall off, but I wouldn't say fall off. Like, he's still gonna get the minutes, and it just depends on if he can find other ways to provide numbers. If maybe he can get rebound, more assist. Since he's taking fewer shots, maybe he can get a couple more defensive stats. We don't know. We'll see. But he was a sell high. If he can do a 2-for-1 to get a top 40 player, top 50 player, that's something for sure. You should be looking to do. Ja Morant, 24 minutes, easy game, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. But sometimes you just see why Ja Morant in category leagues, in 9 category leagues, he doesn't really make that many threes, and the defensive stats are somewhat lacking. So those are the 2 areas he could improve on. And DeAnthony Melton, we could stream him on the back-to-back. If he's out on the waiver wire, we could stream him the back-to-back on the weekend. He could surprise you. Tyus Jones also a pretty good stream this week, had 4 assists and 14 points this game. All right, let's move on to the next game. The Warriors losing to the New Orleans Pelicans. Sure, I mean, Curry and Draymond didn't play. Curry has been struggling pretty hard. Curry is a buy low. Other than Jokic, I would trade anybody for Curry still, 1-for-1. with Clay back, eventually he's gonna shoot his way out of it. Um, I still believe in Curry. I think we all should. Andrew Wiggins this game, I guess the only guy who played well. 32 minutes, 2 steals and a block, 21 points. Made his free throw. He's been beasting. I think yesterday we checked punting free throws. He's like a top 30, top 35 player in the last 2 weeks, getting a bunch of defensive stats. And yeah, he did it again this game. 2 steals and a block, 21 points. And the rest of the guys, Otto Porter Jr. had an opportunity, play really poor. Kevon Looney played really poor. Gary Payton Jr., I guess they were down most of the time, so instead of defense, they wanted to provide more offense. Well, a lot of the young guys came off the bench and played. Jordan Poole, this game was his opportunity to go off before Clay comes back. He played 33 minutes. I mean, the 5 assists and 3 steals is nice. But 3 for 14 against against a bad Pelicans team. I guess Herbert Jones locked him up. For Jordan Poole, I still want to hold. I just want to see what happens when Clay comes back, see his minutes and all that. If he's just playing 25 minutes a night, then we could move on from him. If not, we still got a roster. If he comes off the bench getting 29, 30 minutes, then he's fine to hold. Even if Clay comes back. No worries there. Damian Lee also had a pretty big game, 4 steals and a block, 12 points, but nobody really streamed him. We just don't know what you're gonna get out of those Warrior bench guys. Kuminga, Kami, Moody, nobody really is really. Guys should be back next game. Who knows? With Clay back on Sunday, he's supposed to be back. That'll be a game to watch. See how Clay looks, and also figure out the Poole situation as well. How Steve Kerr is gonna distribute the minutes. Gary Payton Jr. has been getting like 30 minutes, so for sure he's gonna lose out the majority of his minutes. And what happens to the rest of the guys, we'll see. For the New Orleans Pelicans, would you look at that? Herbert Jones, 37 minutes. The minutes is high. 5 steals, 13 points. This is obviously good. If he's out on the waiver wire, you got to grab him. He's been super hot lately in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, 16th ranked player. 15 points is also, he's doing everything lately in the last 2 weeks. Shooting 94% from the free throw line. So that is 100% not sustainable. 48% from the field, that's okay. 2.3 steals is also not sustainable. 1.7 blocks. Even though he's a good defensive player, both numbers are pretty high. Because I can say this because I had Herbert Jones for in my league for a little while, and I think during that time he was like averaging like 0.7, 0.8 steals for like a month, and this week he had 1 full steals game versus I forgot which team is it, and then he had 5 steals here. So like. This is why there's high variance in defensive stats. It's like this different games when you're playing different opponents. Same thing with blocks, right? I know DeMarcus Cousins a couple years ago is the guy that get blocked the most, right? Because he had no elevation under the rim. The other team center can either block him, but he will get the offensive rebound, maybe get blocked 2-3 times in a row, and then put it back in anyways. So like there's just so many factors going into like the players getting defensive stats. So I would really try to maybe, like, people think he's like Robert Covington. He's not that good. He's in terms of getting the defensive stats, he won't be getting the level that Robert Covington was getting. So if you can do a 2-for-1 again, that's something I'll be looking to do. Brandon Ingram, 32 points, one of his best games of the year. But this guy just doesn't get any defensive stats. But again, the rebound, the points, the assists are hard to get in the category leagues. I look at him as a top 50 player. So if you can do a Herbert Jones plus somebody for Brandon Ingram, you do it. And again, it depends on what your team build is, right? Like if you're punting, for example, points, or you're punting rebounds, I don't know, you really want Ingram. You have to really get, if you want to get the most value out of a play like Brandon Ingram, you gotta, the counting stats really gotta count because he offers no defensive stats, and I guess the blocks is fine. He blocks some shots, so the blocks is fine. It's really the steals. So if you don't care about the steals, steals is high variance, anyways. You could try to look to make a trade to get him. Yeah, 0.3 blocks is fine. It's a long season. Who knows? He could, by the end of the season, he could average 0.5 blocks, which is totally fine. He is the 91st ranked player. So in that range, you have guys like Randall is also there, 85th. So you can do a Jordan Poole plus Dylan Brooks maybe for Brandon Ingram. That's something I'll be looking to do. For Brandon Ingram. Another concern with him is he gets hurt a lot this season. I don't know what's up with that. And Valanciunas, another decent game. Only took 6 shots because Ingram was going off. Nobody was looking for him. A lot of the times, big man, how many touches they get depends on the guard. Like if the guard is passing him the ball, then sure he's gonna feast, right? Versus the Warriors, he played 32 minutes and there's nobody on the Warriors can stop him one-on-one. Kevon Looney cannot stop Valanciunas. So, Brandon Ingram just made a choice. Say, hey, I have the hot hand today. I'm not going to pass the ball to you. But he did everything else. 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and still 2 blocks. If he can get a bit more blocks, that would really help his value. But historically, he doesn't really block that many shots. Josh Hart, 34 minutes. No defensive stats. I guess Herbert Jones took all the defensive stats. He'll be better than still solid the minutes. Devontae Graham, just bad. 3 for 14, 7 points. He was a plus 15 in his 28 minutes, even though he played really, really bad. Still a hold if you're looking for the threes and the assist. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, very, very sad. Now he's getting 17 minutes. Drop him. I do think later on this season, he could be getting 25 and 30. We could maybe look to stream him again. And if he plays well, we could roster him. But yeah, at this point, you got to let him go. All right, let's look at the last game of the night. The LA Clippers. And then the reports came out saying, hey, our friend, the robot, Kawhi Leonard, is going to play this season. Sure, I think that's always the case. We expect him to be back like when it's around the playoff time, like their actual playoff time, So I don't think that's a surprise. I don't think we want to stash him, You know how teams deal with Kawhi. They're always super careful, right? Not only is he gonna miss back-to-backs, he's gonna be like that Clay, play 20 to 25 minutes, and Kawhi Leonard in 25 minutes is a top 100 player, sure. But when they see coming back, there's just so many uncertainties. Sure, like if you got 2 IR spot and all your guys already got COVID already, then no worries. You can pick him up because all your guys already went through the COVID BS. But if not, I would just, because chances are 80% chance that you're gonna need your IR spots, 70-80% of the time. So you're gonna drop him anyways if you pick him up. So yeah, I don't think that's a big news until we see until he actually started doing, I don't know, like 5-on-5, 3-on-3 practices. Even by then, it still could be a couple weeks away. So meanwhile, Paul George, also there's some positive news came out of Paul George saying his elbow feel great. So that's good news. He could be back in maybe 2-3 weeks. Meanwhile, Marcus Morris Sr., you could try to sell him if Paul George does come back eventually. 26 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Good efficiencies everywhere. Hit 3-3. That's great. Terrence Mann, this is why we, he played 33 minutes, 4 rebound, 4 assists is okay, a steal, but in order for us to roster him for full time, he needs to do a bit more. With Zubac out of due to COVID protocol, Serge Ibaka is still starting, playing just 20 minutes. So he's no longer fantasy relevant. During his prime OKC days, I think he led the league in blocks a couple years. Those days were long gone. He's not the same Serge that we know. Eric Bledsoe, in the meantime, we could roster him. Luke Kennard was out due to COVID protocol, so we could get a couple more games out of him. Didn't have the best game here. Collectively, they got kind of destroyed. Gerald Jackson, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Amir Coffey getting 25 minutes, but the Clippers do have another back-to-back Saturday and Sunday, so if you like you could maybe stream a Nicholas Batum for some defensive stats. But that's about the only person I would really stream. The other guys, you don't know what you're gonna get out of them. For the Phoenix Suns, Mikal Bridges' minutes has been super high lately. He's played 40 minutes again. I think he also played 40 minutes the other night too. So they're really running him to the ground. In 40 minutes, he just didn't do stuff. 1 steal, 8 points. He's fairly efficient, but he needs to do more. I just think he needs to do more. Get more defensive stats. Cameron Johnson did it all this game. 24 points, 7 rebounds, a steal and 2 blocks. If you can trade him to get any value, I would try it. Jay Crowder is going to be back. And consider he plays so well, I don't know if Coach Monty Williams is going to give him a bit more minutes. I think they probably should. The reason I say it because I have Cameron Johnson. But, he probably needs to maybe have a 28, 30-minute role on this team. Maybe not give Mikal Bridges 40 minutes a night. We don't know. But he's just, offensively, he's pretty talented. And I think he fits the team well. Catch and shoot. Playing alongside Chris Paul. Jalen Smith, he's going to have good value until JaVale McGee or DeAndre Ayton. Ayton is still out. I don't know what's up with him. Really taking his time. Maybe not have good immune system. Taking forever to get back from COVID. Devin Booker struggled again. 11 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Not the best game. Probably a buy low. He's a top 50 player. Yeah. Providing, the categories that's hardest to find on the waiver wire: points, assists, and free throws. Chris Paul, just so good. Another triple-double, 2 steals and a block. Didn't shoot the ball well, but who cares? 2 threes and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. He, amazingly, I don't think he's missed a game this year. Maybe he missed 1 game. Just how crazy, on the Rockets 2-3 years ago, he gets hurt constantly. And then the last 2-3 seasons, he's just been healthy. Like 100% healthy, never missed a game. Maybe he's juiced up. I have no idea how he could go from that guy on the Rockets playing 50 games a year, not even, to playing 82 games, to 80 games, 79 games. That is amazing. Cameron Johnson played 17. Cameron Payne played 17 minutes. It could be a streamer for assists and steals, only if they got a good schedule, of course. But, they're going to start getting some guys back, and Cameron Johnson is the guy that we look to try to sell high. All right, that's it for all the games. I'll see you guys tomorrow.